ever feel like your run game is like this close to breaking away, but your tackle just can't hook the edge? It's not just a missed block, it's a busted play. And today, we're going to dial in on edge control, specifically about the offensive tackles and outside zone. And this isn't about mauling someone. It's about precision, about patience, and about putting your hips in the right place before your hands are even engaged. Welcome back to the Hoggie Shuffle this week. We're back in the trenches. We're diving deep into offensive line play. And yeah, we've got some takes. You got host Preston and co-host Robbie here.
All right, today we got Coach's Corner, Big Guy Spotlight, and Legends Talk. This is a segment for the biggest, strongest guys out there. Let's see who we got, and you can debate who you got.
Plus, we're going to spin the wheel of teams. We're going back just like last week with the contenders versus pretenders, and throwing a couple red flags in there. We got the flags on the play. And some of the takes, they just, they're a little bit off to me. Like, there's this one I want to talk about. I'll just mention it now, but it's TJ Watt versus Myles Garrett, and it makes me mad.
Big time, Randy.
So let's get into it. Remember, like, subscribe, and get your hands inside because the whistle hasn't blown yet. So, first segment, all like always, we're all into the coach's corner. And like I said, it's all about that offensive tackle stealing that edge. And, edge is everything. So the first thing you got to do is you got to set that angle. It's number one thing. So, the first step, it's not a big wide step. It's open. You're going to bucket step to gain that depth, cross over to square your hips, and then attack that landmark. The defensive ends, they're trained to fight outside with that arm extension and a good rip. So, tackles, you have to beat them to the spot, not to the man. Always know that. It's angle of pursuit. Go to the spot, not the man.
See, a lot of coaches don't like the term like cheat step or like, they don't like that tiny step that you need to make sometimes that's not your first step. A lot of coaches don't like to teach that. They don't want to see it. I think it's a great thing for a young guy to have that cheater step and then work under that cheater step if he needs to.
Well, and exactly. At the end of the day, like your aim point, it needs to be the defender's outside armpit. If you win that shoulder, you're going to control the edge. But if you try to,
100%.
Get it too inside or you try to get too low with it, you got to get up, get that shoulder, keep the edge there. And you got to realize, like on a wide zone play where front side tackle seals his reach block within 2.5 seconds. And this is a good stat here, 2.5 seconds. Teams average 1.8 yards more before contact.
Right. Then you got to go into it like hands and hips, like don't be a chaser. We always want to strike inside, under the pad level, and we always want them to chase our outside shoulder, right? If the D end crosses your face, don't panic because we know, hey, we got our foot, we got all our weight over our inside. Convert that to a drive block, wash hands, we always win. Always, always, always. Hips need to roll through contact. You're not catching, you're guiding, and you're finishing, guys. Like, this is what we need to do. We need to do that every single play.
You have to.
A little bit of drill tip, half line wide zone with a DN shade, mirror, reset, back shoulder. Coach watches your hip transfer. So basically what they want to do is we're going to stay square, we're going to hit back into our step, and then we're going to look for your feet and your hips all the time. Like, those are the two major things we always got to be working, guys.
Always. And you got to realize, like, when can it go wrong? What to do when it all goes wrong. And especially on the counters, you're against a wide nine. You want to shorten that first step, explode vertical before climbing lateral. You see a blitzing safety come from the outside, you're going to echo that gap, get the guard to convert to inside out punch. That's huge. And let's say a twist is coming in. You anchor, you post. Don't chase the looper. Whatever you do, if you're running outside and the ball's coming outside and you see that DN loop in, do not chase the looper because that D tackle, that 3 tech's coming right to you. Keep your outside zone, keep it out, anchor and post. The tackle's job is to hold first contact and pass off clean. Right? You're going to pop off. You're going to hit that backer. You're going to make the play. I promise you will make the play if you do it properly. And when you see that, 9 guy outside zone, like the wide 9, expect a late loop twist or a boundary blitz. Because at the end of the day, and make sure you adjust your pad level accordingly to it. Because if he's coming out that big crack, he wants to come take your head off. You got to make sure that you're going to come in. You're going to seal him outside because it's always the most outside guy that you want to take on that outside run play. If he's right in front of you, if the end's here and that blitzer's right in there, now that's your guy. And you have to communicate that with the offensive line to know that, okay, I'm taking this guy here. Now it's a one-on-one. There's no 2-man help anymore. It's a one-on-one block, and you come out on the outside and seal that edge.
Right? And again, like we always talk about, like it's our catchphrase, you got to stay square. So no matter what you're doing, no matter what play it is, we're always moving our feet up the field, and we're always squared that line of scrimmage, and our weight's always sitting on our inside foot.
100%. If you want to look at some NFL, tape out there, some guys out there, Trent Williams, he's a monster with it. I mean, his stats last year, he had 87.4 in his run block grade with 0 sacks allowed in zone concept plays. He's not letting sacks come through because he's holding that outside gap. He's holding that lane there. He's holding his guy. And it's edge control. He never overruns his angles. He's always got the square hips, and he finishes with that signature roll technique, like a good play last year, week 13 versus Seattle, outside zone left. He sealed Boyles Maffei with a low hook and hip right to the sidelines. 23-yard McCaffrey gain off his shoulder, right? You don't have that offensive line block to set that up. I don't care what running back you have back there. He's not getting any yards.
Like when you watch this guy, if you guys want to see what it looks like, he pretty much plays offensive line on one foot. Like if you watch him kick step, his back foot, that his kick step foot is, barely ever touches the ground or puts any weight on it. It's like he can just get back there. It's like he's got a roller skate on that inside foot where he can just keep all of his weight there and somehow make it back there as fast as Myles Garrett and Crosby's. Any of these guys coming out, he's getting them because he's that fast. 1 foot. Another guy, we got Penei Sewell, 81.2. And we talk about this guy a lot. And there's a reason we talk about this guy a lot, because he is just so easy to watch film of and learn from. Top 5 success rate on front side zone carries, one of the best in the NFL. And he's got what offensive line need. He's got unique strength. He's got that big chest, and he can just hockey around. You know what I mean? Like he can anchor, he can provide power, he can beat linebackers to the sideline, reach technique through his hips and his feet all the time, all while maintaining all that pressure on his right foot. We got key play, week 9 versus the Bears. Sewell climbs, reaches Montez Sweat, then pancakes the linebacker at the next level. Like textbook combo block, combo seal. Like the guy is just a god amongst boys.
The bottom line here is your edge isn't just the lane. It's the lane. If your tackle can't set the reach, your running back stuck in traffic, it's not going to be great. Great offensive lines, they win not with force, but with angles, with leverage, and with smart feet. And that's outside zone and a core. If you have your right footwork coming through, and like a big thing I always like to say, especially with coaches, you want to make sure you're getting your guys practicing this kind of stuff. Practice your outside zone footwork, possibly run a half line drill in practice. It works really well on those outside zone plays where you have just, your 3 guys here, what's coming outside, you get 2 defensive linemen down and a linebacker, and it makes it so much easier working that half line just because you can get more reps in, you can get it continuously going, and you can play the right, play the left, play your inside zone, your outside zone, and just really work on those seal blocks.
I just like what you say. Like you just got to work on your angles every day, your leverage every day, and your feet every day. You can get your offensive linemen to do that thing. Great offensive lines will win they don't win with force. They win with speed. They win with determination, and they win with knowing what their body needs to be doing at all times. That leverage piece is very big on what we have to do. And, when you have that inside leverage versus the outside leverage, and the guy attacks your left shoulder and you're kick stepping back, and you just won the battle. You know what? All your weight's on the inside. The only thing he can do now is once you tie him up, what's he going to do? He's going to cross your face. But you're sitting there, it's like, come on, just cross my face. Let me have an easy play. Like, let's just get this going. And that's
just take him to the dirt.
And that's what I was just about to say. That's when we get our celebration. That's when we get our trophies. We get the pancakes off those every damn time.
All right, guys. So rolling to the next segment here, we're going to go into the big guy spotlight. Again, something we do every week. Keep talking about it. Keep making sure we're talking about these big guys and making sure they're getting the love they deserve. So this week we're going to talk about one of my guys, Landon Dickerson. He's a dog. He's still getting his steps in. He's still getting his baby steps in. But I think he's going to be a really solid guy on the Eagles offensive line again this year. Last year he got a 78.6 overall grade with a 79.4 run block. So that was top 5 amongst guards. His snap-to-snap profile, he had 995 total snaps with only 5 sacks and 27 pressures allowed. Right, that's insane. You want to look at his calling card. He generates 1.6 yards before contact on zone lefts. His elite hip torque turns 3 techs. Like he just absolutely rolls in there. They get the double team seal and they're gone. And you want to look at some film cues. Week 14 versus the Giants, it was 4th and 1 on a duo block. He forklifted Dexter Lawrence to the ground.
Dexter Lawrence
absolutely
is a big monster, man.
Oh yeah, he is. Ooh. Right.
Next up, we got Quinn Menarez, right guard for the Broncos. PFF grade 2024 season 88.2, so he was 3rd among 136 guards with an 87.7 run and an 83 pass PFF. Efficiency edge, he is the only guard to clear 80 plus in both run and pass per PFF and dual 80 club. Now that's pretty freaking amazing right there.
Oh, he'd be part of the dual 80 club, man? That's disgusting.
Wow. His pressure rate, surrendered just one sack on 12 pressures on 682 pass pro snaps. That's an average of 1.8% pressure rate in the top five. Now that is absolutely otherworldly. Like I say that, like when I said that in the last segment about like us having like these big, huge barrel chested bodies, that's what that means, guys. He's got rare hip mobility, which lets him torque, seal, shade nose tackles in Sean Payton's inside heavy zone offensive scheme. Bronco fan hook here, guys. With Menares clearing lanes, Bo Nix saw the league's lowest in 24.5% pass pressure on every play action, guys.
Ooh, nasty.
Absolutely nasty.
So next segment we're going to roll into here, guys, is going to be the Wheel of Teams. And we're going just like last week where we're going to roll with the contenders versus pretenders. Talking about guys that teams that I really think can either, make the Super Bowl, possibly make a strong playoff run, or teams that are just, maybe not there yet. And we're going to talk about it and see. Just like last week, we can go 2 for 2 again and just pretty much pick 4 teams, talk about them, and see what we think.
All right, let's check it out.
Righty, here we go with the first spin. Who's it going to be? Green Bay Packers.
Green Bay Packers.
Now, this is a good one. I got a couple great friends of mine that are big Packers fans. So obviously, I do know about the Packers in that sense of, watching them a little more. I like to always grill them a little bit and give them the gears. But I mean, at the end of the day, this Packers offense is going to be something special here. With obviously Jordan Love at the Q. They got Watson. They got Dobbs on the outside. I mean, they got a lot of monsters. Josh Jacobs as the interior running back. I mean, he can run it through the middle. And so I think, I'm not going to say this is a Super Bowl contender, but I think this is a great playoff contender. They're going to be probably in the wild card game fighting for a spot, and hopefully get to see them take down the Bears again. It's one of my favorite things to watch is a good Green Bay Bears game where they actually throw a big ball at the end. And one thing that's been really cool about Green Bay is the history of quarterbacks they've had, where it's been just Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer after Hall of Famer. And the reality is Jordan Love, yes, he's not there yet, but he's going to be the guy in the coming years. He is going to be that guy that ends up making a great Hall of Fame career for himself because he's the guy. He's a dog.
Well, I was literally just about to say the exact same thing. And then I look at Brett Favre. And then I look at Aaron Rodgers. So, I mean, to follow in those guys' footsteps, the guy had a career before he even got on the field.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're following in 2 of the greatest all-time quarterbacks in the history of the NFL. Like, I'm pretty sure Brett Favre won 3 MVPs, and I know Aaron Rodgers definitely won 2 MVPs. So, again, like, that's going to be really tough. Do I think that he's an MVP quarterback? Absolutely not. And I'm not sure that he'll ever break that. I'm not sure if he'll ever break that contender to be an MVP quarterback. Again, like, those are some big shoes to fill. I know that, they definitely offloaded some of their older offensive linemen in the last few years, and so they're working with a couple young guys. The only key to that puzzle that's going to help him the most, like you said, is Josh Jacobs. Now, Josh Jacobs he's a hell of a running back. He's a great blocker, and not only is he one of those things, he's a great teammate. And that's what would separate them in my eyes over maybe the next team we're going to pick here.
I mean, I do disagree a little bit in that sense. I think that in the last 2 seasons, he's had a 44,000 yard season and a 3,300 yard season, 25 touchdowns, 32 touchdowns. I mean, he's got a passer rating of 96.1, 96.7. So I do think that he's not there yet, but I do truly believe that he's on the come up of getting better and better and better.
Oh, 100%.
And the better receivers that they get with him, and that you're going to see a lot better. I bet you he probably ends up being a top 5 to top 10 quarterback this year for sure.
No, I'm not taking nothing away from him. I'm just saying, like, with all the Mahomes and the Jacksons and the Allens and all these other quarterbacks that are, highly touted in front of him, it's going to be really tough for him to be in the class of getting an MVP.
I could see it.
All right, who do we got next?
Let's see who we got next.
Well, the Packers definitely win this matchup. I'm not even going to go. We can go into. We'll break it down a little bit, but we already know what's about to happen. The Jets are a bit of a dumpster fire, and they've been a bit of a dumpster fire for a while. I'm a Raiders fan. I'll speak that out. You can call my team a dumpster fire anytime you want. We've been there. Like I said, the Jets are. They're doing good things. Rodgers was there last year. He definitely did some good things there. He threw some touchdowns. it's going to be different. It's going to be a totally different team this year, I think.
I honestly think you're going to see Justin Fields definitely start. He's going to be the guy there. That's someone who just really – he doesn't have what it takes, in my opinion. He's bounced from team to team to team. You've seen him sharing reps with Russell Wilson the other year there. It was just it doesn't look great for him. He's just a guy that he needs a proper system to work around him, and I don't think the Jets are going to be able to offer that. I think they wasted all of the resources they had getting Aaron Rodgers there, and then letting him go and getting somewhere else was just, they didn't really get the return they needed out of that, in my opinion, for what they gave to get him. And I really think that the reality is they're not even going to be in the wild card game. Like, they're going to be to say that they're the second best team in New York when the other New York team is absolutely garbage is going to say something. But I think the Giants have a better record than the Jets do this year.
Oh, big time. Big time.
It's not even worth talking about. That's how bad it is. It's the reality is, I know I got a brother who's a Jets fan out there too, and I can tell him that as much as he's wants to hold on to that gear and hold on to that grasp of ever winning something, you got Super Bowl one. At least you got that.
Yeah, they got some. They got Broadway Joe.
All right, so rolling into the next one here. Let's see if we get a good team here.
Maybe we should take their name off the board. Oh, come on, baby.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm gonna start this one off. No, we are not a Super Bowl contender, and I appreciate something that Coach said right when he got to the team. And he addressed the media and said, guys, we are not a Super Bowl contender at the moment. I'm not saying we're not going to build on some things to be there in the future, but at the moment right now, we are not a Super Bowl contender. And we got some guys, you know what I mean? We got Crosby. And for me, having a leader like Crosby is astonishing. He's a great, great player, and whatever he's doing there is bleeding into other guys. You look at Jackson Powers-Johnson. You know what I mean? That guy is going to be an absolute dog for the Raiders this year. He's playing center, which is what we needed him to play, and I'm pretty excited about it. Then we got Ashton Genty. I'll just say that last name, then you can take over. We got Ashton Genty, and I'm really curious to see if our offensive line is good enough to give Ashton Genty what he needs to be successful this season.
So biggest thing with the Raiders, and I've watched a lot of Raiders games and seen a lot of stuff. I think the biggest mistake they made is not signing or not starting Aiden O'Connell. I think having him as a backup is the biggest mistake ever because he's proven that he wins games. Bringing a guy like Geno Smith that he knows, obviously Geno Smith knows the offense Pete Carroll likes to run and can understand it. And obviously Pete Carroll pulled him out of the abyss he was in and gave him a career back and everything like that. But I don't see Geno Smith doing anything for the Raiders. I think if anything, he's going to just mess up the flow they have there. Really don't think he's going to do much at all. With Ashton Genty, I really don't think you're going to see too much production out of them, and they're hopefully can beef their offensive lineup to be successful around them. But really, the Raiders, their strongest point, obviously, their defensive line. And, they're good at keeping that around and good at keeping that motion going. But the biggest problem they have is anytime they get a coach that flows with their team, the ownership instantly just wants to boot him out of there for some reason, and it makes zero sense at all. And what they need to do is sell the team, give them to somebody else, because the ownership they have there is an absolute joke.
And we're on the verge of that. You see guys like Tom Brady buying in, and that's I seen this clip of Wahlberg talking about, hey, I'm a Pats fan, but Brady's here, so I got to flow with Brady. And I mean, at the end of the day, we got guys on the Raiders. Brock Bowers is a legitimate tight end. Some would say one of the best in the entire league. Now, I wholeheartedly agree with you about AOC. I think that if AOC starts the year last year, I don't think that Pete Carroll's our coach. I think if they rolled with AOC right out of the gates, I mean, as a starter, I'm pretty sure he's 6-0. And I'm pretty sure in one game he put up 48 points.
He's proven that he can do the job, and for him to not even get the opportunity to be the starting guy, for them to bring someone else in, I think is a big slap in the face, and I think that's continuously going to ruin the flow they have there. They get guys that when they fired their head coach and they get interim head coaches come in and they start winning games and things start going really well, and all of a sudden they're just we're good, we don't like them. And the problem the Raiders have right now is they don't need to be successful to sell seats because they're in Vegas, so it doesn't matter every single game they play. We've been to a game in Vegas, and every single game that they have there, it's 50-50. Like
At
they get
least
fans
50-50.
they get fans from everywhere around the world, because who wouldn't want to watch their team to hang out in Vegas and watch their team play and things like that, right? I mean, so they have a great stadium, Legion Stadium, so beautiful, and they do a lot of good things. But the problem that the Raiders have is that they don't need to win games to be successful and make money, and that in turn means that they're never going to be a playoff contender until they get that mindset out and start actually producing and start actually giving an offensive line. You give an offensive line to the Raiders, and they could be deadly.
100%. All right, come on, New York Jets. Watch.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So, this is a great one. So, I'm going to tell you this right now.
I wonder who you're going to talk about.
Dak Prescott is the single-handed reason that the Dallas Cowboys will never be a playoff contender. Until he is gone, they will never, ever, ever be a playoff contender, because he absolutely folds as soon as there's pressure. Regular season Dak, man, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and that's coming from an Eagles fan. But I'm telling you right now, the second that he steps on the field in a playoff game, something happens, and I don't know if he just sits there with his thumb in his mouth and wants his mommy, but he is just terrible. And you look at what they did, where they obviously, Zach Martin retired. They lose a bit of their offensive line. Their running back situation isn't great anymore, but they still paid. Dak's going to be the highest paid player in the league this year, highest paid quarterback in the league, this year, which is just astronomically ridiculous. And that's the big reason why they're never going to be a playoff contender, is they're paying him so much money to be a regular season hero. And look at Dan Marino. It doesn't do you any good. Yeah, you can be great and you can make all your money. Even back when Peyton Manning was playing and he made all that money. I mean, at the end of the day, if he had to just give a little bit more money to the team and be a guy like Patrick Mahomes, where he signed a big 10-year contract, he kind of signed a Scottie Pippen deal, where he's not making as much as everyone else could be making, but that's the reason why they're able to get all these other guys, they're able to have a great offensive line that they have, because of the fact that he's not making all the money.
It's called the Tom Brady effect.
100%. I really think that Dallas's defense, they got a great defensive lineman. He's a big Philly fan. He's awesome with Micah Parsons. But same thing. He's the kind of guy where he's wasting his talent there, because he's never going to get to play in a Super Bowl. It's never going to happen until they realize that Dak is not the answer and they need to get him out of there and get someone else in there. Then they'll be successful.
Well, I'll hit you with what you said about the Raiders, because you were 100% right about the Raiders. And I wholeheartedly think that this is either the first or the second worst ownership in the league. I mean, the Jones family have done decent things with the Cowboys in the 70s and 80s. But once you get into the 90s, when they were good, you've seen a switch go off with Jerry when he was wanting more control of what was happening on the field, and he couldn't get it, so he fired his best friend. His best friend that he went to college with, his best friend that came and won him championships. He is the worst owner in the NFL. And until that changes, the Cowboys will be absolutely a disgrace forever.
Completely agree. Yep, that's a huge reason. Because if you have a guy that's so invested, like I've seen this thing with the Colts where the daughters are kind of running it as well too, and the one daughter, she's got the headset on, and she's keeping everybody in check, and she wants to know what the head coach is doing. To me, that makes sense. You're understanding what's going on. She's not being overly controlling. She's understanding what's happening, making sure that she has the right people in the right place. With Jerry Jones, it's not about having the right people in the right place. He does not give a shit who the head coach is, who the offensive coordinator is, because he makes all the shots. And I'm not saying he's calling the plays. I'm not saying anything like that. But
I would say that.
He is single-handedly influencing the wrong people to make the wrong decisions in Dallas.
Never forget that out of any NFL team, and there's a lot, 32, Jerry Jones made his own reality TV show about the Dallas Cowboys. And it was absolutely atrocious. It was a very play on Donald Trump, and it was one of the worst reality TV shows out there, because who cares who the Cowboys are getting from a reality TV show? They suck. And you're telling me you're going to less suck with a reality TV show?
And the problem that I always have every year is it's obviously being the NFC East division, seeing that happen. It's going to be a fight this year between three teams in the NFC East. They're the reality is Dallas could easily be the number one team in the NFC East. But even if the Eagles or the Commanders make the wild card game, they're going to absolutely destroy Dallas in the playoffs. We see it happen every single year. They just implode in the playoffs. So they will never be a contender until they get their head out of their asses and start realizing what it takes to win football games. And the number one thing is stop paying a guy that can't win you playoff games, because it's been proven for 10 years that he has not won you any playoff games.
100%.
All right. Last spin. Who's it going to be? Ooh, okay.
And see, this is what I thought. I thought we landed on this one the last time, but I mean, guys, you already know what we're gonna say. Penny Sewell is a monster. Um, and again, like I said in the last one, it's not only that he's a monster, he's a great teammate. And again,
100%.
most offensive linemen that are good, that have longevity in the league, they're really great guys. And the reason that they stay and the reason that they can last so long is because they don't butt heads with guys. And they don't do dumb stuff. They take care of their as they take care of their money so that they're always going to have a bright future. Now, I like the Detroit Lions. I really do. I think that their defense is a standalone from the rest of the NFL. And I say that because last year, I think they were down to like 2 starters. And they had only plug and play backup guys in, second, third, fourth string, practice roster guys just coming up. And their mentality was so strong and they had so much belief in Dan Campbell that it didn't matter who was on that defense. They were still winning football games.
And that's a big thing when you have a head coach like Dan Campbell. I mean, he rallies the troops. He keeps everybody in check. He's one of the guys. He's in the locker room. He's doing the stuff with the way he needs to be. He's not above the team or anything else. And like you said with Sewell, you have an offensive line that can protect Jared Goff and give him abilities. And then Amon St. Brown, monster. He is such a dog that you look at all these guys out there and you see that they're a solid chance. Like they're probably going to win the NFC North. I would really see it happening for sure. Right. And they're going to be a solid playoff contender. I think that you see them. I'm not going to say NFC Championship game, but I could see them in the at least in the divisional round for sure. At least win that game.
I just know like getting Aiden Hutchinson back. Like Aiden Hutchinson is a dog.
Oh
like,
yeah,
he is a dog. Like there is not too many guys out there that can do what he can do. And coming back from an injury like he's coming back from, I wholeheartedly think that he's going to be so hungry that he's going to absolutely tear up the league. He might even be the number 1 next year.
It's going to be a fight between him, Parsons, Watt, and Max Crosby. Those are your four main guys. And then I think what's his name on the Bengals there, Hendrickson. I think he's also going to be in there too. I mean, there's a lot of solid linebacker style defensive ends out there. The Myles Garrett as well too. I mean, there's so many monsters, man, that play defensive line coming in the NFL right now, where it is just absolutely disgusting.
I was going to say the same thing. Like I look at Myles Garrett and I look at the rest of them, and I kind of hold Myles Garrett above most of them.
I do. I mean? Like, I 100% do.
I love number 98, and he has been probably the best Raider we've had since Charles Woodson. But I tell you, number 95 is an absolute freak of nature.
Like I'm telling you right now, there's probably not one person in the league I'd take over Myles Garrett. I'm talking any position.
I wouldn't either.
Like I remember a couple years back, he was in the NBA All-Star celebrity game, and they're all running around. There's a bunch of stars from different sports and this and that, and he was at 285 pounds dunking the basketball. And that is ridiculous.
And the thing about Myles Garrett is that there's not a man on this planet that he fears.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Like if you
were to say, graveyard of sacks.
Like that's my point. Like that's where I was going there. Like you look at like John Jones, and I look at John Jones as like this guy that is impenetrable. He could beat anybody in the world. But then I look at Myles Garrett, and I'm just like, if Myles Garrett started at the same time John Jones started in MMA, Myles Garrett would be unstoppable. Nobody would ever beat Myles Garrett.
Wouldn't matter what sport the Myles Garrett would decide to go to. Could be rugby, could be baseball, could be basketball. He'd be an all-star. He's just got that dog in him where there's no one that's working harder. There's no one that's doing what he's doing. There's no one that could absolutely stand up to the mentality and the physical strength that this man has. This actually rolls into our next segment really well. So end this off here. And we're going to talk about flags on the play, boys. Now, my flag on the play this week, I seen this wild post, and it made me mad. Like, I screenshotted it, I saved it, I knew this is what I wanted to talk about because it absolutely just it made me so mad. And the comments, holy shit, the comments even made me more mad. So I seen this post out there. It was a Twitter post where someone was talking about that you see this graphic floating around that TJ Watt versus Myles Garrett. It was a side-by-side, and it was saying that, the stats are breaking down where TJ Watt had more sacks and more tackles, and it was the difference of probably about 6 games. Like Myles Garrett had a little bit less games in there, but the guy's caption was he's taking TJ Watt over Myles Garrett every time, and to me that is a just ridiculous take. Ridiculous.
Here's the flag, guys. That's box score scouting. Watt is an amazing outside linebacker in a heavy blitz scheme with paths off the edge, but Garrett is a true defensive end. It doesn't matter if he needs to crash down. Doesn't matter if he's getting a double team, triple team. Dude is still wrecking your shop every day. And I guarantee you one thing. He's getting a sack on you. Might not be two, might not be a bunch, but that guy is getting at least one sack and 16 games in the season, bro. And I guarantee you that.
What made me so mad was the comments on this little clip, or this picture where it was saying that, oh well, Myles Garrett gets double teamed, TJ Watt gets the same amount of double teams. Not even close. TJ Watt, I'm going to give you the stats here. TJ Watt, double team rate last year was 14.6%. Myles Garrett was 29.9. That is literally double the amount of times that he is double teamed. Wow. Almost every single play he's getting double teamed, a third of the time, versus TJ Watt is not getting nearly that many double teams. So for people to comment that out there, you don't even watch football. You're just ridiculous. You're a casual. Get out of here. You want to look at his pass rush win rate? Oh, guess who wins that too? Defensive end, Myles Garrett, 26.7. He's the number one amongst all edge rushers. You want to look at true pressure rates? Again, 18.7 versus 13.4. I mean, you look at it where, you look at their alignments where they're at, and most of the times TJ Watt's in a wide 9 stand-up, and you get Myles Garrett where he's a mix of a 5-tech, 4. He even goes 3-tech interior. I mean, he is an absolute monster. Like I'm sorry, to even fathom that Myles Garrett is not the best defensive end in the league, get your eyes checked, you knucklehead, because that is crazy.
Like, he is getting double-teamed, triple-teamed, and it's not even just that. You got to scheme against this guy. So you got to scheme against the entire Cleveland Browns defense. Cool. Okay, that's Monday. We're going to get into it. Tuesday, we're just scheming Garrett because, again, he can play anywhere. You need him to bump down and be D tackle. Perfect. You need him to bump down to 1-tech. Perfect. If you're saying he couldn't do it, I guaranteed he could do it. I guaranteed if you put him at offensive line against TJ Watt, I see him winning. I see him winning 99% of the time. I see him absolutely just crushing them. You line up Watt up to the wide, and of course he's going to get to the quarterback. But it's just that plain and simple thing. It's feast or famine, and I guarantee you this: sometimes Watt doesn't eat. Sometimes he gets hurt, and sometimes it's here, and sometimes it's there. But I'll tell you one thing: Garrett's always eating, and he's eating well.
And it's not about who has more sacks on the stat card. It's about how you get them. And Garrett, he creates sacks for others as well too. Compresses the pocket, he's forcing fumbles without ever getting a clean angle. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that doesn't show up on these lazy graphics of people that don't watch the league, don't watch the games. Where, like I said, to even fathom to not take Myles Garrett in that situation, and you got to realize they're playing two different spots. Where one's a DN, one's an outside linebacker, and I get that completely. But reality is, if you don't have a guy like Trent Williams or Penei Sewell or Jordan Mailata against a guy like Myles Garrett, it's not even a fight. It's not even close. He's roasting your ass every day. Versus TJ Watt, yeah, he's great. He's really good, and I understand that for sure. He's a great player. He gets lots of sacks, lots of outside runs, but he's not the kind of guy you have to scheme your entire offensive run against. Yeah, you have to make sure he's out there and make sure what's going on, but he's not a full scheme.
Let's look at the other elephant in the room is that one plays for arguably one of the greatest teams in Super Bowl era. The other one plays for arguably the worst team that has ever been part of the NFL. 10 billion coaches and 10 billion different defensive schemes. Watt's had one defensive coach and one scheme the entire time he's played in the league. And still, Garrett is taking names and putting them on headstones.
The reality here, guys, the takeaway is the numbers are close, but the roles aren't. Garrett's impact is more versatile, more violent, and more scheme resistant. So don't fall for these surface stats you see out there. Watch the tape and actually watch NFL games, and you'll see why Myles Garrett is the guy. Now, next flag on the play here, I'm going to start it off, and Rob's going to take over on this because he was the one that actually pointed this one out to me. But CBS put their all-offensive team since 2000 out. And honestly, let's just say it, I got a problem with it. You're going to honestly tell me that Trent Williams isn't starting on this offensive line? You get generational talent. He's probably the greatest left tackle ever, and somehow he's a reserve behind Joe Thomas. And I know Joe Thomas isn't great. He retired, he's all this kind of stuff. But it's Trent Williams. Get the fuck out of here. I'm sorry for cursing, but get out of here with that. It's Trent Williams.
Again, we're taking nothing away from Joe Thomas here. Joe Thomas was elite. I mean, no one was knocking him off his game. But if you were talking about peak dominance, longevity, technique, and versatility, it's Trent Williams all day long. He played at an all-pro level across multiple systems with quarterbacks way worse than Thomas had. Let's be honest. He's still pancaking guys to this day at age 36. Now, what we got here is we got a career snapshot. So we got Pro Bowls, Trent Williams, 11. Joe Thomas, 10. So very similar there. First team All-Pros, Trent Williams, and this is where it kind of separates for me. Plus 3 times he was a second team All-Pro, where Thomas being part of his team schedule, he only had 6.
And they were all second team.
All second teams.
So to even have them considered there is ridiculous.
Right? PFF grade, top 3 offensive tackle every year. Right? And then you look at Joe Thomas, retired in 2017. The guy retired because he was tired of losing. He was tired of going 1-15 and 0-16. Trent Williams has more than that. You know what I mean? Trent Williams would will his team, and you've seen him. That guy bleeds for his team. When he's on a team playing for the Niners and some guy's just yapping his mouth off, what's he doing? He's taking him after the game, and he's saying, hey, talk to my team like that, I'm going to smack you in the mouth.
And he did. He punched Richard Sherman right in his face.
Right? Run game impact, elite zone edge sealer. Like I was talking about before, it looks like he skates on one foot, And then you look at Joe Thomas, more pass block focus. He is that guy that's going to get the guy coming off the edge. But in the instance, he's going against a Micah Parsons, Garrett. He's probably going to lose that battle one-on-one inside because he just doesn't have that same mentality as Trent Williams did. Scheme, you look at Trent Williams, what he did, under Shanahan, Gruden, or Rivera, it was gross. He has been a monster since the day that he put on his NFL tie. And when he retires, he's still going to be a monster. And then you look at Joe Thomas, he's played a lot of bad football games under a terrible system. One system pretty much his entire career with a shit pile of coaches.
What is 6 different coaches?
Right? I think it was 11. 6 different coaches in 11 seasons, right? And then, again, only 11 seasons. And you're looking at this guy who's still dominating at a high level, and you got Trent Williams.
Trent Williams is 35, 36 years old, and he's still the number 1 offensive line rated in Madden going into this year. And they take the stats from the previous year and look at it, and how do you keep up with that longevity and that that's LeBron. That's LeBron type shit where it's like that is just a monster that keeps playing ball, that keeps doing it. And you know what I mean? He could have retired 4 years ago and I'd still be saying the same thing, to be honest with you.
1,000%.
Trent Williams, he's not just consistent. He's violent. He's athletic. He's smarter than any blitzing linebacker coming out there. And if Trent Williams played in a bigger media market for more of his career, this wouldn't even be a possible conversation. You put him on an actual Super Bowl winning teams and that kind of stuff, man. Let's say he played the Patriots for the majority of his career on that lineman style he was in. God damn it, Brady would never have touched the ground.
Never.
He'd have been laughing the whole way through.
Not never. In my eyes, he's on the top 5 list of all time, not just
all time. I said, he's arguably one of the best tackles of all time.
100%. As I'm saying, all time, I mean linemen. So if you put your 5 best linemen, centers, guards, tackles together, he's the left tackle. I guarantee it.
Yep. 100%. That's why this graphic made me so mad. Now, the second part of this graphic I want to talk about, and this made me really mad, and that the fact that Adrian Peterson is not on the starting roster is ridiculous. Ridiculous.
He is a reserve behind LT. Great. He's reserve behind Derrick Henry, which terrible, right? LT was incredible. AP with teams loading the box. He was the perfect offensive weapon, and he was probably the best of the decade. The game that they played, and it was his rookie season, playing the Chargers, and they had that running back battle. AP goes down. He gets hurt, comes back up, rushed for 300 yards in a game as a rookie. Not only did he do that once, but he did it 3 times as a rookie, 300 yards in one season.
And I get it. Derrick Henry, he's a kind of cyborg. He's a monster. But peak Adrian Peterson was a different animal. He had that Kobe Bryant mentality, the vision, the cuts, the power. It's not the nostalgia I'm talking about. He did it post ACL tear. And he still won an MVP as a running back. You show me Derrick Henry's MVP as a running back?
No, thank you, sir.
Oh, yeah. Not a chance. He's not winning that shit. And at the end of the day, it's Adrian Peterson was a generational talent that there is not a lick of truth in him not being it. And honestly, I'd take him number 1 over LT. I'm sorry. There's a lot of Chargers fans out there that they want to say he's the best running back of all time. They want to put him in the top, all this kind of stuff. But Adrian Peterson was a generational guy that was different. It was different. Watching him play football was just different.
So I was just gonna cut in and say, you look at a guy that's as big as AP with the breakaway speed that he had. You can only name one guy that's similar to that, and his name is right there behind me. And again, I would still take AP over Bo Jackson. I'm sorry, a lot of people think that I'd be crazy by saying that, but I'm telling you, there is nobody in the running back position that coming into the NFL made bigger splash.
So, guys, from this segment, takeaway, obviously, Myles Garrett all day long. There's not even if, and, or but that dude's better than TJ Watt. I'm sorry. You guys want to tell me I'm wrong in the comments? I'll fight you back in the comments on that, because at the end of the day, there's no world where you're telling me Myles Garrett's not one of the best defensive ends in the league right now or all time. Him and he's just, oh man, like when him and Aaron Donald used to be the face of the defensive line in the league, like that was it. It was just the two guys they had for the longest time, and it was just absolutely disgusting. And then to see Trent Williams not starting on this list and Adrian Peterson not at least being running back number 2, that's rewriting history. You're building an all 2000s team. You don't forget the trenches on the team. You just don't. So, rolling to our next segment. When I was just talking about a second ago there, the one guy I would take over Trent Williams, this is it. So, we're talking the Legends talk. For me, it's Larry Allen. I mean, he is the strongest man in NFL history. Like, it's not just about dominance with him either. It was about fear. Like, Larry wasn't just a Hall of Famer. He was a walking nightmare for defensive linemen. He's the kind of guy who would end your career with a single punch off the snap.
And let's be honest, legendary strength. Like that, there'll never be another guy that totes the story about a 705-pound bench press. Like not only did he go into the combine and absolutely kill everybody, record, and I think he did something like 80 reps at 225. Like it was absolutely gross. And 705-pound bench press, like not even Aaron Donald's topping that in my eyes.
No. And here's the best part, boys. It's on camera. It happened. It's not just one of them Wilt Chamberlain 100-point stories that people, somehow couldn't get on camera. This is a documented thing that happened on video of him benching 705 pounds. And you want to look at it. It was 2001. They're training in the offseason. Larry benches at 700 pounds. No lifting suit, no elbow wraps, just wrist straps and a spotter. I mean, just raw. And his actual, what was it here? His video evidence exists. He went viral. Pre-social media era. It was Allen lifting 225 pounds for 43 reps casually in warm-ups. So even now, that's combine record level strength. And he did it after years being in the NFL in the trenches. So this isn't just weight room hype either. The power translated to the field. Do you want to watch tape of him picking up linebackers in midair and clubbing down a D tackle with a single hand swipe? Like, he played 14 seasons from 94 to 07, 203 games. He was 11 Pro Bowls. So at the time, it was tied for the most by any offensive lineman. I mean, 11 Pro Bowls is ridiculous. He was 6-time All-Pro first team. Like, that's ridiculous. Super Bowl champion 95. Like, he was a big reason why they had such a successful offense and a successful team in that era. It was because they had an offensive line that was just ridiculous. He's a first ballot Hall of Fame famer, 2013. He ended up playing for the Cowboys from 94 to 2005 in San Fran from 06-07. And here's the crazy part. He played left guard with majority of the time, but he also played right guard, right tackle, left tackle. I mean, he could play all 5 spots if he needed to, and he was an absolute monster.
Like, let's talk about versatility. He lined up at left tackle in the Pro Bowl. And again, in the Pro Bowl is where he set that record for the bench too. So it was like a lineman challenge they had in the Pro Bowl, and somebody went up before him, and they put up an obscene amount of reps, and he absolutely crushed it. Being left tackle in the Pro Bowl, that's an unheard of for a guy who started his career at guard. You know what I mean? To start your career at guard, and then for all of your teammates and coaches and everyone to say, "Hey, man, we're gonna put you in for selection to be the left tackle spot," which is in my eyes, that's the most. And
one thing that a lot of you younger fans don't realize out there, Pro Bowl back in the 90s was an actual football game. It wasn't just a shitty flag football game where no one tried or did anything. It was the kind of game where you see people like Brian Dawkins, and you see people like Sean Taylor absolutely taking heads off. I think there's a play out there where Sean Taylor just decleats the kicker from the Pro Bowl and absolutely just wrecks him. And that was the kind of aggression and fear that they would put in them during the Pro Bowl. I mean, it was ridiculous, man. Like you want to talk about what made this guy elite, and it was beyond his strength. It was his hand placement, his inside strike and control, his feet. His feet were ridiculous. His first step was insane. He had this mirror ability against these small rushers where he would destroy them. He was probably the hardest guy in NFL history to try and win a bull rush against. Like, you need a guy like Aaron Donald to even attempt that. You know what I mean? Like, you need someone that's so strong and so low and aggressive. I mean, and he recognized stunts, delayed blitzes, the blitz disguise. He was like a quarterback out there on the offensive line. And so, honestly, my favorite clip of him ever, there's this iconic clip where he runs down a linebacker after a pick. I think they're playing against Tampa Bay. It's insane. Like at the time, he was 6'3", 330 pounds, and he hawked this dude down like a safety. It is one of my favorite offensive line clips of all time because you see the pick coming through, and all you see is this big monster just coming. It's amazing. And you want to talk about stories that he had. He had DB had an interception as a rookie. He showed a 4.8 speed at 330 pounds. 4.8 speed.
Wow.
He benched more than the team's max machine. They had to bring in custom plates for Larry Allen to keep benching because he was too strong. People would beg him in practice not to fight because one swing would break their helmet bar. And you got to look at what John Madden called him. The most dominant lineman I've ever seen. And John Madden was in the league for a long time, and he's seen a lot of stuff and a lot of linemen out there. You want to take the takeaway from this segment here is Larry Allen is the standard. He is the bench standard 100%. If you're coaching young linemen and you teach him how he used his hands, you're building an all-time roster, you start with him. Because it's not just because of his strength, but because of his technique, his violence, and his football IQ. I mean, he was the guy. So we're going to roll into our next segment, back like last week again. We're going to go over the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's just something we're going to talk about. A couple stories we see them, just run through them really quick here. First one I seen was, it's really the only one we have for the good. There's not a lot of good out there going on right now, and it's building up. If you guys see anything in the that you see out there, send it into us, though. We'd love to see some stories. We'd love to hear more, talk about them on the pod some more. But one I seen today was Seahawks, they could have the best defense in 2025. And so there's some growing buzz around their defense with analysts projecting that they might have the league's best defense until the next season. The revamped scheme and personnel makes them a defensive dark horse. I mean, heading into year 2 of the Mike McDonald era, the expectations are high for their defense, and for a good reason. After some initial growing pains last year, the unit evolved into one of the league's best defenses over the second half of the season. Over the final 9 weeks, Seattle ranked 5th in scoring defense and 5th in defensive EPA and 4th in total defense. I mean, wow. To see that come out of a team where, they used to have, I remember when I was a kid, man, they had the Legion of Boom, and they were just nasty defense. And they're kind of getting towards that again, where they're really starting to be having a strong defense and a strong push. And so that's some good. That's what I like seeing out there for sure.
All right, now on to the bad. Tennessee's quarterback quandary. Will Levis lose the edge after Cam Ward pick? And then again, come on. Let's be honest. Will Levis had a great team to play with last year, and he couldn't do it. He just couldn't get it done. And they went for the sure thing. They went for Cam Ward. I see Cam Ward absolutely. I'm sure they'll start Levis and see what he's got, but I'm sure that Levis is working borrowed time.
I bet you Cam Ward starts by week 3.
I agree.
Honestly, I bet you Cam Ward starts by week 3.
I wholeheartedly agree with you.
Now, rolling into the ugly. This is the stuff that's just it's a little nasty. And the first guy I want to talk about is old AB Antonio Brown. His controversy on social media comments on Messi here this last week. I mean, he stirred some controversy with provocative comments about Messi's old gene photo using racial language that sparked widespread backlash along social media. I mean, the dude's literally running from the cops. I think the last thing I seen, he was riding a bike in some, Afghanistan, one of those kind of countries where he was just out there trying to escape any of the law in the United States because there was a few weeks back where he got his chain snatched at some streamer's party and he pulled a gun and tried shooting this kid over it and all this. Like, he has so many problems after that Vontaze Burfict hit that he'll never be the same guy. He just won't.
He's broke.
The CT, and he is broke, man. I watched him on Kill Tony a few months back there, man, and it was an absolute disgrace. I mean, it was just embarrassing thinking, this is the kind of guy that's representing what NFL players were like, and it sucks because it's like he was the guy at one point in his career. He was one of the best receivers out there. Dude has on the cover of Madden, and then everything went downhill for him, and he just completely imploded. So it sucks to see that. That's the ugly. The other part I want to talk about is the NFL Players Association's under fire right now for alleged salary suppression collusion. ESPN broke a story indicating that the Players Association leadership withheld a report showing teams colluded to depress players' salary, damaging trust among players during crucial collective bargaining talks. And what that means basically, guys, is there's a lot of teams out there that are pretty much trying to mess with guys' money and force these guaranteed contracts out because they don't like that they have to pay these contracts now because the league changed. It's not like it used to be where you could just sign this dude and you have all the power and hold him there and everything else. Now there's this guaranteed money. And what that means is, you know what I mean? If he's not going to play for you and you guys aren't agreeing on everything, cool. Pay me my money. I'll leave. Pay me my money.
You'll see where it started was, and I remember this going through the 90s and the 2000s, you were based on your performance. So if you came out, you're the running back, and you hit all of your stuff, you were getting your bonus, you were getting this. And then coaches tried to be sneaky about it and be like, okay, we're going to put this into their unreachable goals, right? And the problem is that those unreachable goals, those guys wanted their millions of dollars, and they all don't have Tom Brady's, where they're saying, okay, I need one more catch so I can get my $1 million bonus. And if you don't have a Tom Brady, you got a guy that's listening to the coach. Well, guess what's going to happen? You ain't getting your $1,000,000. So now you have to pay all your money to the other things, and you're not getting the dollars that you deserved. And I like that these guaranteed contracts are coming in because it's holding these teams accountable. Now, am I saying that it's always the best situation? No, because a lot of guys come out of college, they get their money, and then if I'm getting $100 million, $130 million, I don't want to play for 10 years.
Right? And you look at, like, Saquon said it best this last season where he's playing for the Giants. They were always messing around his money, trying to franchise tag him, doing these different things where there's no guarantees for him. And so we had to play a little bit cautious because if he got injured, his career's over. He's never going to make that money again. He's never going to get the opportunity. But he goes to the Eagles, he gets all this guaranteed money, and now he's saying that I can play like I'm supposed to play because I'm not scared to get hurt anymore. I can run around and do a reverse juke jump on some guy and do a hurdle backwards because now I'm not scared to play like that. And I'm not scared to play because he knows he has the guaranteed money coming forward. And so that's the biggest difference that these ownerships and teams don't see, is that they're allowing guys to be able to play better and play more because they're not nervous or scared that they're going to lose their entire livelihood over a torn ACL, over a bump or bruise or anything like that.
100%. We got next bonus heat. Fox Sports reducing Cowboys late afternoon game. Oh, thank gosh. Like, let's be honest here. Right? Like, despite being the most valuable franchise in the league, Fox will air just 3 Cowboys games in the 425 slot nationwide window in 2025. The move is aimed to be diversifying prime broadcasting. And come on, guys. It's the same reason the Raiders aren't getting the love in the playing time. It's because people don't want to watch their team lose. And if you keep putting all these guys out there on these primetime games, and these mid-afternoon games where, that's the broadcast, you're not getting the views because we don't want to watch it.
Exactly, guys. And at the end of the day, like I've already said it, change up what they got going on, change the ownership up, and you'll see more primetime games because you'll have more wins and you'll win some playoff games too. Final thoughts for the podcast here, guys. Like, obviously, shout out to the unsung heroes in the trenches, whether it's the tackles reaching those wide zones or the interior guys holding their gaps. The game, it's one up front. And you get from Larry Allen's legendary power to Quinn Manera's rise, the O-line deserves spotlight, and we're here to give it to them. Don't get lost in the stat sheet. Watch the tape, respect the craft, and never sleep on the big fellas.
100%. Next week's tease, we got Wheel of Teams returning with a little bit of a twist. We'll be rolling twice, and one team will get a full fixed audit. I like that. I really like that.
I think that's going to be a fun way to do it.
Right?
Just seeing it like that.
The next thing we're going to do is Big Guy Spotlight. We'll feature a rookie to watch out for. So we're going to pick a couple. We've probably already talked about these guys, but you know what? We're going to go deep into it, and we're going to get you some stats. Plus, we're breaking down the most overhyped free agent of 2025. I wonder who it could be.
Now, make sure, guys, subscribe, leave us a review, share the episode. If you're really riding with the trench play and you guys like what you hear here and like what you see, make sure you're sharing, make sure you like and subscribe, and follow us on YouTube. Give us a like, subscribe. We're on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, wherever you kind of get your shorts or get your podcast information, Spotify even, we're on there. If you want your team featured in the Wheel of Teams and you want us to talk about a team a little bit more and push more teams and stuff like that, drop us a DM or a comment out there. Tell us what team you want us to talk about, and we'll dive into them a little bit more, for sure.
100% all you Jets fans were already posting some hate on me.
So, thanks for tuning into the Hoggie Shuffle. We talk O-line because nobody else will. We'll be back next week with more power, more tape, and more chaos. And always remember, stay square.
Stay nasty.